I'd like to call the October 28th, 2021 Parks and Rec Commission meeting to order at 6:32 p.m. Can do roll call.
Daisy Walker.
Present.
Gary Kleckner. John Blust.
Here.
Niall McKenna. Deb Peltz.
Here.
Paul Doxey.
Here.
Carol Miller.
Here.
All right.
Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We're going to skip the approval of the minutes. We don't think anybody here received the minutes from, I think it was June, July? June. So we can do that next meeting. I don't know if you're the audience or not.
Well, I was going to substitute mayor's report for audience participation since
All right, mayor's
I
report.
figured it was going to be an open slot. No, I haven't been to the last couple of meetings, so I just want to kind of come and really see if the board's got any questions, but kind of fill you guys in on just some things that are going on kind of behind the scenes. A lot of work's being looked at up around the community center. We've got Safety Town. This could be a big project for next year. We've budgeted some money with council. Rotary's getting involved to probably provide bodies as well as money to help kind of refurbish, and we're going to probably start with like a clean slate. So we've got our service guys involved, re-asphalted, and then just kind of start from scratch and kind of see what we want. I know Jen's going to look at some, maybe private sponsorship for some of the buildings and different things. So hopefully we'll get that taken care of starting in the spring and get it ready for the summertime. Just looking at all our facilities, really, everything's starting to age. So we're looking at our pavilions. We're looking at really in our playgrounds. Playgrounds are a big one. So I don't know if you know, throughout the city, when every neighborhood was created, playgrounds were built, and then those were turned over to the city. So we maintain them all. We're responsible for replacing all the equipment. We mulch or chip them every single year. It's a big project every single year. Now all of them are starting to age. We can't get parts anymore. And so, you're probably looking at 1 million to 1.5 to start, replacing all the equipment there. It's a huge, huge task. So we're trying to start to look at that. We're in a situation where, some municipalities have, maybe some small dedicated millage for Parks and Rec that helps with capital, that helps with ongoing programming, with a lot of different things. We don't have that here. And so, we do it out of our just general fund budget. And again, we have to do a lot of planning and forecasting when we do that. So, but little things going on. The fitness center is still growing. Hopefully, a little bit closer back to where we were in 2019 because of a lot of different staffing cuts and different things going on there. Our subsidy so far this year has been very low. So we're hopeful that this batch of cold weather coming toward us is going to start increasing our memberships. But everything is kind of status quo in a lot of different areas. Liberty Park, the new ball field's doing, this was received from TBL. That was great, a great addition to that area up there. But we're constantly looking at different things that we can add from Parks and Rec standpoint. We have those 19 acres up by Glen Eagles, which the residents obviously do not want residential there. I've kind of looked into down in the future. They would love to see that as a potential recreational, passive and active recreational area. That's something that the board or Friends of Twinsburg Park, in the future could potentially get involved with. We're looking at our different parks and different things. Glen Meadow Park, we're budgeting next year to replace the basketball court. The asphalt there is really bad, so that's an area that is pretty active from basketball, so we're looking at that. Probably need to do some maintenance to the pickleball courts. While we repainted them and reorganized them, we really didn't do a resurfacing there. So we're seeing some cracks, different things, but I mean, the ton of play that we're getting there, I don't know if you ever go by there at night, but there's always people waiting to play. But yeah, some things going on and around the city, but Do you guys have any questions about anything that you see or happening? Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, on Sharon Brook, you know where Sharon Brook is in the Chamberlain Ledges. And I talked to Chris, I think it was earlier this year, because we have this park and it was run down, and I never received feedback from Chris Campbell if he had looked at this kiddie park. Do you know the status of that? I could always walk down and look at it, but.
So Chris and his department are starting to look at every park.
Okay.
We're starting to look at what we need to maintain it, what we need to replace, things like that. That's a big project. So we're looking at it, and then we're going to start rebuilding, and we're going to have an asset list and all of that. So that's coming.
Okay.
They are visiting every single park and looking at all the needs and what needs to be repaired.
Okay.
And things like that.
That's
Yeah, and I think there was maybe residents sent you some pictures and different things. Was that the park?
No.
Oh, that's just one you found? Okay.
Yeah, that's another.
Yeah, I
that's
get stuff all the time about our parks and
problem.
playgrounds, and I've gone over personally with, magic erasers and scrubbed off stuff off of, different playgrounds, because I get noticed that you wouldn't believe what it says on the slide as you go down. So but that's just, minor stuff. But yeah, we're starting to look at the big picture of really what those dollars are going to look like, over the next, 5 or 10 years, and try to plan that out. So that's it. All right.
Are you gonna build another pickleball court? Or maybe a parking lot?
We get requests all the time. We get requests for that, and we get requests for lights. And we're fortunate, when that was put in, pickleball is definitely a noisier game than tennis. The residents have been great. I did get, I don't say confronted. I was approached by one of the residents that lived there, who was very polite and just said, in the summertime, like literally when daylight starts, 6:30 in the morning, 6:50 in the morning, there's people out there playing, and she goes like, we're having a cup of coffee with our windows open, and not that we hate it, but so we may look and talk to the service department about putting up some more kind of natural barriers that may block a little bit of that sound and stuff. But I was actually approached by Hudson, who's building at Barlow Park. They're building a whole, basically, they're calling it their racket complex. They've got 5 tennis courts and 12 pickleball courts, all new, with gazebos and restrooms, and I mean and they wanted like my input on how they're laying it out, and then the distances and all that they're trying to do. But it's a really neat facility. It's exciting for them. It's probably $1.5 million project.
Wow.
Yeah, to build these courts. But it's going to be neat. It will probably relieve some of the stress on our pickleball courts, because as more and more communities start doing what Hudson's doing, and they are, you're going to see play start spreading out. But really, if you know the community, they kind of follow the players. So if there's a big group that likes each other and hangs out, we kind of absorbed all of Solon's, and then we have a lot of Hudson, and just it's just a group that all play together. So Twinsburg and they're all part of the kind of group that comes at certain times. But those will be popular once they open, for sure.
Good.
All right.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll move down to committee member reports. Daisy, do you have anything?
Yeah, I would like to bring something up, and I did talk to the mayor about this maybe a couple years ago regarding sunflowers. I love sunflowers, and they're just so beautiful. Sunflowers and pumpkins. And I was wondering, have you guys ever considered planting sunflowers possibly around, I don't want to say around Safety Town, but around the parks area? They're really beautiful, particularly this time of year when we're having trick or treat and we're doing a lot of things that's going on. Perhaps if we had like a pumpkin patch that the kids can maybe plant pumpkins and we could sell them, or you could sell them. I guess Parks and Rec can do some selling.
We can certainly look at that. I can talk to the gardener and see.
And then I know my kids have gone to prayers. Is it Prayers for Maria or Sunflowers for Maria?
Yeah,
Yeah, right there. And they sent pictures absolutely gorgeous. And I talked to the mayor about this a couple years ago, and he thought it was a great idea. But then I got off the environmental commission, and it just went, it just never happened. So have you considered sunflowers along
haven't.
parks and recs and empty space and have pictures taken and?
Yeah, we can talk to, I can talk to our service team about what we want to put in as far as landscaping in certain areas, sure.
Yeah, the only thing is, you have to plant them every year. I would certainly be a part of it because I love sunflowers. I have sunflowers. I used to have them. I didn't plant any this year. They were like 12 feet tall.
Okay.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Sure, I'll
Just
talk to them
gorgeous.
about it.
Yeah, I think the challenge is finding the space that,
Right.
and having the maintenance side of it. Our service guys run 100 miles an hour
I know.
all the time, and they maintain every inch of flower beds and everything. We're fortunate to have a couple of good seasonals this past year, but putting in a field somewhere would be challenging. I think it'd be beautiful. I think it'd be cool, but I just we got to make sure we're not spreading them too thin, and then you got to look at the irrigation side of it and a lot of different things, and the environmental side of it. So depending on we got a request or a thought about doing something along McTarian, but
I know,
I just
yeah.
don't know how you set it up, and then safely, if people want to come look at it, are they just going to pull on the side of the road, put their hazards on? I mean, there's a lot that kind of probably goes into it, but yeah, it's a nice thought. It's just the logistics of it is where we're challenged.
I was thinking about maybe getting the Boy Scouts. They can get points to plant and water. We could use them, even if we started out small, like maybe a couple dozen of them, and then grow every year.
Yeah, finding the right space for it
Right.
is the key. But we can look at it.
Okay. That's all I have. Thank you.
The only thing, and you guys actually touched on it, I don't think we've met since summer camp, but I didn't realize the playground up in the main park, I've probably been gone for years, I don't know. But I did notice it's starting to, erode a lot of that whole pathway and stuff, and my kids are way older than Safety Town, but some of the complaints about Safety Town were brought to my attention, and so I just told them, it's come to the commission's, it's been brought up to us, and just funding and stuff like that was an issue trying to get out to the thing. And but the one thing that the couple people that I spoke to were, if you're good, when we do make Safety Town, however we do it, make it flat, because those little kids can't pedal up the hill. So, but that was it. The only thing personally I would say is, we talked about this. If when summer camp comes back around this year, if we can entertain school busing, I know it's an expense, but if it's an expense that can be put back on the parents or that are having the kids go to camp, I think it's something that should be looked into. As far as I think it makes it much easier on residents to have the kids picked up at their house and taken to camp and then dropped off. At least it does for myself. So.
Yeah, it's something that we'll always look at
Yeah.
and then see where it fits into the plan of everything. Yeah.
I mean, I know it's expensive, but I think if we could look at the picture and say, okay, well, if you want your kid bused, it's going to be an extra, however much it's going to cost. I know it used to be nothing. Now it's not. So, and that's all I really had. Debbie?
No reports
A report.
for today.
Paul?
Deb, did you want to talk anything about Friends of Twinsburg Parks at all?
Sure, I was gonna do that in old business, but
Okay.
I can do it now.
Yeah, let's just go ahead and do it
Okay.
now. Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, scratch that. I just as an update from our last meeting, which I think we said was August, June anyway, I had kind of made a plea to the commission that because of COVID and just people's lives change, and the people that were really heavily engaged in helping me on the committee have since backed off or had other priorities that have come up, and I really was kind of left on my own. And went through my own. I had both of my boys graduate in 20 and 21, so there was a lot of upheaval transitioning home from work. Everybody went through the same thing, but as a result, the Friends at Twinsburg Park really just was put on hold. And I'm in the process of, and we talked about this in our last meeting, but in the process of relaunching. And I think there's an opportunity to do a little bit of rebranding. I kind of have my energy level back, but there's some need of additional assistance and outreach to the community, and how do you get people to fill in the spots of those that maybe had to step away. I need to update. Carol and I actually took some time last week and got together, and she was gracious enough to offer her help, and we talked a little bit about some of the things that need to be cleaned up. First and foremost, I need to reset the board. Some of the board members have even moved out of state. I need to do that, and that's more of a, for the record of the state of Ohio for the nonprofit status. We're working on renewing the mailbox, but we also talked about, which wasn't an option 2 years ago, is using the QR codes and then also leveraging Venmo, where before we were cash and check only. And there's lots of exciting different opportunities that we can leverage to make it easier for people to donate on the spot, or get involved or sign up through the membership on the website. So there's a list of individuals that we need, people with an accounting background. I certainly am not one that I can do a spreadsheet, but I can't. It's hard to fill the shoes of Sue Vasilevska, so let's just put it that way. She did a fantastic job and handed it off in a pristine manner, but to take it from there, we updated, like I said, I think I said the mailbox, so just so we have that, to leverage. There's some additional materials we need to update, obviously bringing it into 2021. Carol and I were potentially looking at a little bit of rebranding, as far as looking at the logo that we have, and getting into a little bit more merchandising and selling that as fundraising. I have been in close contact, obviously, with some of the folks on the pickleball court, definitely over the past 2 years, because they've been outside and using the court, as you've mentioned there. And we have money set aside that definitely we can reinvest, and we want to keep that partnership going. I know that if I reach out to them about membership, they've all been very responsive. It's a very active group, a very responsive and engaged group of people that want to donate and be involved in the upkeep and maintenance of the courts that they're using. But it's a matter of, the logistics around it and making sure, that that's organized. And again, just that relaunch, I'm targeting January, so we can start off with a fresh year and look at a membership going out again to the community. I have a list of people that were on the website and also from the email distribution that we'll start with. Reach out to them, obviously. Those are folks that have already donated, and then go from there and try to build folks that will come in, be a part of the board, and also start attending, again, those monthly meetings. So it's just getting refreshed and dusted off, and there's a lot of excitement still behind it, and I still am very excited to be a part of it and taking the lead in it, but we're kind of starting over. To some degree, anyway. So with that, we'll be reaching out. I think we need a lot more communication. We might just redo what we did initially, like leveraging the newspapers and the social media sites, and just getting that word out again, now that people are wanting to be back out in society and with people. And Jennifer, I know we touched on potentially leveraging some of the things that are going on in the city. Yeah. Again, so we can have a table and get the word out or help volunteer, which we'll be doing this Saturday for the trunk or treat. I didn't have enough to get a table together. I'm not quite there yet, but happy to wear my t-shirt and show up and help with the event, and we'll continue to do that. If just reach out, and we'll leverage that distribution list as we always have.
So are you ready? Besides Truck or Treat, do you want to do the other events that we've got coming up too?
Yeah, for the holidays, absolutely,
Okay.
Absolutely. And at a minimum, if it's just volunteering, and then we should have the materials updated by that point, so we can hand things out, or share the Facebook page or the website, that sort of thing.
Okay.
We can definitely, we're ready to do that.
And so just kind of want to throw this out to the group. It seems like over the years we've had a lot of interest in being part of our Parks and Rec commission. It's kind of the fun group. You get to look at the exciting things in town that really adds to the quality of life. As part of me kind of being pulled into the Hudson project they got going on right now, I kind of got a little more experience with their nonprofit, which I think is what you kind of modeled after.
Yeah, we partnered.
And
very closely.
a very organized group, and then the city really leans on them to be the recommending body for the community as it relates to Parks and Rec. So they don't have a formal Parks and Rec commission. They have this body with their board. And I actually watched a whole presentation that, this commission did, this board did, that proposed this recreational complex. And there were some other things. There was 3 or 4 other things that they put together their own master plan and said, here's what we'd like to see. And I don't know if there was ever any interest or talk about this group kind of slowly evolving into, that particular role with Friends of Twinsburg Park in terms of, versus having this commission. It's just something to think about, because I kind of see the strength that they have being detached from the city and being a very organized fundraising type group that can then provide that kind of role and input, and I think all of you, want to see this continue, and, it's, tonight we got a few people missing, and you really could kind of dictate, if you did go that route, you could really kind of dictate, how you engage with the city, and then the city could really lean on that group, and then you'd have free reign to fundraise, to do programming, to do a lot of different things, but just something to kind of think about as a group. So.
Yeah, we partnered very closely with them in getting kicked off and just formatting and all paperwork and what they went through and getting up and running. And they're a very organized group, as you said, and I know that they're willing to partner anytime. So if we were to look into that type of transition, I think the original vision was really just to supplement the commission, not replace. But it's certainly a great point that there are folks out there that maybe would be more involved if it were, separated from the city, and it was, you had a little bit more, power in what you were presenting, and the ability to fundraise and all of that. I can look into some of those details just to see. But again, it would have to be much larger, much more robust engagement to be successful in that, as Hudson is.
Yeah, and I would anticipate, I know when you started too, I mean, your meetings, you had, 15, 20 people at your meetings, which provides a lot more input. We get a lot of people that want to be on Parks and Rec Commission, and they show up, we interview a ton of them, and unfortunately we select a few, but then, then we're here, and if they were members of a group paying, and, we're there, that group as a whole is valuing that type of input, because I went to a few of the meetings, and it was great early on, the dialogue that was created with 20 people in a room, versus 4 or 5. So, but something to think about as you move forward and relaunch, and and it's probably a conversation with all the commission members too about how active they could get involved, and from a city standpoint, I'll do whatever I can. I think it's a great organization that's needed here. Again, I'd like to have it with a little more advising type capacity, because if you do look at different projects that you want to see, and whether it's a city funded project or not, having that third party group that's really invested is the one who really can kind of do the grassroots campaigning for certain things that go around town. Because sometimes when I campaign for it, or the council campaigns for it, it's a tougher thing. Yeah.
Well, and I think too, with the success we had with the pickleball group, and maybe a demonstration of why the Hudson team is so successful, is because those individuals feel that direct impact, because they get behind the project they're most passionate about, and they're most engaged in. And I think that, like I said, the pickleball donations we're able to make are on behalf of the pickleball group, really are a good example of that.
Yeah, the presentation that I watched that they did to their council in January, which was about this project, Twinsburg was mentioned probably 10 times about what we did, just that one project, and so it'd be good to have the Friends of Twinsburg Park connected, because they were so much involved in making that happen, and the ongoing. I mean, the windscreens, and I know there's been different fundraising that's kind of gone on to help Friends of Twinsburg Park.
Yeah, and working with Ralph, he's been very vocal about future opportunity and just the potential of what we could raise going into next season. So, we'll pick that back up, and I'll connect with him, and I'll reach out to the Hudson
Okay.
folks that I had met as I put the team together and see where we can partner and where we can be part of that or get some ideas to generate how they were able to grow and be where they're at today.
Okay.
So can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
Not necessarily, I don't know if this is the forum for it, but could you help me understand what you mean with structurally, how Hudson's different from the Twinsburg, the Forensic Park here as it relates to
Sure.
looking at the difference, you said detached from the city. What does that mean necessarily?
So just like Friends of Twinsburg Park, it's its own 501c3 with its
Yeah.
own board.
Yeah,
Board that it appoints. It's got members that are actively involved in that organization. It's not a
Okay.
city organization. It's not a
Okay.
city-controlled organization. As well as Friends of Twinsburg Park, it's a separate organization
Similar,
that's
setup.
run and organized separately. However, they don't have a formal Parks and Rec commission that's part of a charter or anything
Okay.
that is appointed by the city
okay,
to make recommendations. They look to this organization and their board to get the pulse of the community. I mean, they did surveys. I mean, they did all kinds of stuff that really said, okay, here's the top 10 things that our residents want to see happen
Okay.
in Hudson.
okay,
And then they are the recommending body, and their council and their mayor and their city manager really looks at them to be the pulse of the Parks and
board.
Rec. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Versus having a city controlled or city appointed type commission.
fair enough, thank you.
I think that, correct me if I'm wrong, Debbie, I think that, and you were on the commission several years ago,
Mhm.
we would put together that 5-year plan.
Mhm.
And we'd have the top projects that were, because, what we felt the city could use, benefit from the city, whether it was surveys and things like that we did. And just some of the stuff just never got funded. So I think that,
Yeah.
and it is what it is. And so when Debbie came on the commission, she took the reins and basically did what Hudson's doing on a smaller scale to try to supplement. is
Yeah,
what
that's
you
what we're
said.
talking about is raising
Yeah.
the money in a different way that we
Right.
could supplement those projects.
Right.
Right, instead of, I mean, that's a lot of money to bring, to come to the commission or to the city and say, hey, we'd like to put another pickleball court somewhere, and, but it sounds like the Hudson's commission, or Hudson's 501c3, comes to the city, makes a proposal and already has it funded. What do
It's
they
probably
ask?
some of both. I mean,
Portion of it.
the project that they're doing at the parks, that's going to be city funded. That's 1.5 million. That's where,
Okay.
I think, and this is just watching the interaction between the council and the members of this group.
Yeah.
It's different, I think, because of the size of their group. So when this board makes a recommendation, it's 6 or 7 of you. When that board makes a recommendation, it could be 300.
Right.
Yeah.
The
room's full.
The size of that group is what's,
Right.
they're saying, look, we've done our research, we know what we're talking about, and we have a 300-member organization behind us saying this is what we want to see in town.
Right.
So from a political standpoint,
You do what they say.
it carries some weight.
Right.
And I kind of picked up on some of that interaction when I was watching the dialogue go back and forth, and the council still has their concerns, and when they talked about the size of the complex they wanted to build, and one I'm like, well, can it be smaller? Can it, can we do this? And they're like, well, we don't want to do it, wrong and have to change it in the future. I mean, so there was a tremendous amount of respect that goes back and forth, and it's not that you guys don't have that here. It's kind of a different feel.
Yeah.
Because I think we struggled with that a lot when I was on Parks and Rec. We'd make recommendations and
And
never heard anything.
And
Yeah.
it's hasn't changed.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been on it since you were on it. And,
Yeah.
and so some of the projects, and it's, unfortunately, they're big ticket projects.
Right,
And so
that's what I was gonna say.
So
Mhm.
when Debbie created the Friends of Twinsburg Park, or I think that's what it is.
You're right.
We were just trying to. She took the reins, get a group of people, and the pickleball people are a great example. You got a huge group of people there, and they raised money, and
Yeah.
I mean it's
We
growing uncontrollably down there. And so
Yeah. We did talk about smaller things too, like
Yeah,
you know, the
yeah.
trailhead
Right.
or
Right.
the sign here or
Right.
the put your dog on a leash
Yeah,
sign,
yeah.
that type
Right,
of thing
right.
that may
Yeah.
not get funded
Yeah.
normally.
And I think, and I'm not trying to discourage that part of it. But I think as you
There's
grow in your
potential.
you're growing your member base, I think you have a stronger voice,
Absolutely.
with that organization being kind of detached, and as you build your member base, to say, okay, here's our group, we're focused on Parks and Recs in Twinsburg, this is what we want to see, because I know, John, we struggled, and,
We did.
kind of part of that's on me now, as this board makes recommendations. It's, Jen knows I'm very much engaged in Parks and Rec, and if I could spend my whole day just in that happy area, I would do that, but unfortunately I can't. But, it's just something to kind of think about as we take a lot of looks at different things that's going on with how we look at Parks and Rec as a whole in Twinsburg, the assets that we have, the amenities that we offer, the programming that we offer, and how we're going to package that to our residents, having, potentially a different vision on how also we engage with the community and what they'd like to see. And that's just a thought. And it kind of, when I watched that go on with their January meeting, today when I was watching it, it kind of brought that to mind that, yeah, there definitely is power in numbers and having that separate voice that says, we're organized, we're serious, and this is what we want to see happen in the community.
Well, I think one of the lessons we learned when we launched is that we didn't have a list of projects, right? We were starting off with that grassroots approach, trying to get people involved and engaged, and the first question they asked is, okay, well, what are you gonna do? What projects are you working on? And maybe with this relaunch, that's something that we take into account, are the ones that are going to be most impactful. Maybe not be as small or have a mixture of both, or really give people a sense of what we want to accomplish so they can get involved in it.
Yeah.
Pickleball's an example, but also partnering with the community center and some of the things that
Well,
may
they
be
did a
important to
survey.
them.
When you guys did the survey, and I don't know off the top of my head what the top 5 or 10 were, but that would be, you put it out to the residents and see what they want to see, and if you ask me, the first thing would be more pickleball courts.
Well, and the lights, right? I mean,
Which is
that's
fine,
also
but it's
Yeah.
again,
Yeah, I think
What
it's
they
challenging. I mean, that location is probably challenging just because of the closeness to residences. And, I think they had, Hudson, when I watched it today, had 3 or 4 different locations. And where they're putting it is a really smart location because there's no residential around it. It's part of our already very active area. It's going to draw more people to that area. It makes a lot of sense. And we kind of just, on a whim, kind of tucked ours right there because we had a couple of courts, and it's worked out fabulous. And literally every other day I get requests for lights there. But
Yeah.
I'm real hesitant because
then it goes later in
those
the evening.
those residents, if they're sitting on their back porch and
Yeah.
they're going to see those lights. But yeah, I just kind of a big picture. I just kind of wanted to share that in terms of a long term thing to think about for the commission and where you go and then how you launch in January.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess I don't know if you want me to save it for new business or not, but I was gonna ask today, we talked a little bit about different grants, where you partner with the nonprofit and the city, and maybe you're able to engage in something or submit something that's a little bit more robust with that partnership.
Mhm.
And I really didn't know a whole lot about it, but I was thinking maybe those are the types of projects that would build some energy or people would respond to, that we could say, oh, well, we're a part of this grant, and if you become a member, you make a donation, you can be supporting this effort or something along those lines. And I didn't know if there was a list of grants
can get
out
a-
there, or
I can get a list of grants and opportunities that are out there.
Okay.
And then we can start working on that as you start rebuilding this.
Okay.
For sure.
Yeah, that was one of the ideas that I had, a place to start that we kind of skipped over last time, but it kept coming up. So I thought maybe that was something that was built in that maybe would raise some excitement around it.
Would looking at that 5-year plan, I haven't seen it, so, okay.
I would honestly, if you're asking my opinion, I would say,
Start over.
Start over?
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, that 5-year plan was.
That was going to be my next, literally, you were reading my
and I
mind.
would say,
Yeah.
Maybe the next meeting, or maybe we have a separate meeting, so to speak, to address nothing but the 5-year plan and bring to the table the surveys that were sent out through Facebook or whatever, and start from there. I think would be the best way to do it.
Yeah, I think we can do some work in the interim, right? If you want to send the surveys to this group. I have the old format of the
I thought you
5-year
sent
plan.
I already
Did you?
I
Yeah.
did send the surveys out.
Some things
So-
are going to my.
We had the results of the survey, and I happened to pull it up, like the top 2 box, 79% were in favor of an expansion and maintenance of the trails and parks, the bike paths, and then 78% outdoor athletic fields, courts, and playgrounds. So the amount of people that we can tap into, and I don't know what the base was because we just had the answers to the specific questions we were asking around the parks and the trails. But it's got to be a huge number of individuals who would be interested in supporting the continuation of what Twinsburg has to offer, which is just an amazing system of park and rec.
No, I agree. I think, fine tuning a survey specifically for Parks and Rec, and I know Ryan's really good at doing stuff like that we could, get out to the residents. That'd probably be the start of where you guys can start looking at, the long-term plan of the different areas, and I'd love to see it include all of our parks, our playgrounds and everything, to say, okay, here's what we have to wrap our arms around, and here's what we got to look at for the next 5, 10, 15 years, and what do we want to see grow, what do we want to see, get better, and so those are the kind of things.
Well, I know in the past, in partnering with the folks of the Hudson, Friends of Hudson's Parks, they talked about where the trails can connect between Hudson and Twinsburg and opportunities to work together in those types of projects. So I can certainly reach out and have that as a part of it.
Right, and we did, we have a whole kind of master plan on how to connect all our trails. We got a grant from, I don't know if that was ODNR, the one grant we got. So we do have a kind of a plan that shows all of our trail systems and how they potentially could connect. We're really looking at that a little bit because we have a developer for the downtown redevelopment project, and so that's discussions already kind of started, regarding the importance of having those trails connect to that area, what it's going to look like, running through that particular project. So, but yeah, we can do whatever we need to do. Sorry, I didn't mean to take over this meeting.
No, it's a good conversation.
Well, if anybody should, it would be you, so that's okay.
And that's all I have.
Thank you, Deb. Paul.
I really feel like I don't have a lot after this, but I just wanted to say I saw the new signage at the Hickory Trail and thought it was really cool with the QR codes. And I'll be happy to help with anything with the Friends of the Park.
All right, write your name down here.
And that's all.
That was from the IT perspective, right? Weren't we talking about help with the website and?
Yep.
Okay,
And
great.
Deb, we had
Thank
talked
you.
about possibly leveraging your help for some of the email.
Oh, the distribution list and all of
That's
that.
what I do. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll be happy to do
Okay.
that.
Yeah. We
Great,
want to
thank
tap
you.
into what he does, so that's it. So let's do it.
Carol.
I'm just going to say ditto to Deb's report because it's a combination and a joint effort. We, I think, tried to get together 19 times since the last meeting, and finally we're able to do so and look forward to partnering in order to figure out how we can amplify the efforts. I know the community's excited about it. I will also say, just on a sidebar, that I'm in the parks, the Summit Metro Parks, as well as our own trails a lot. And there's a ton of people out there, and they're just smiling ear to ear, and they love it. And the Parks and Rec group, the city does a phenomenal job keeping the trails up. I mean, the weeds are cut back, the bushes are cut back on every single trail, and I can't possibly speak highly enough about how beautiful our trails are and what an asset it is for the city of Twinsburg to have the trails that we do. You just go up and you watch. For example, what was the tournament that they had just recently? I'm going to ramble on here, but it was up at Liberty Park.
The wiffle ball?
Was it the wiffle ball one? Yeah. And the amount of folks that were up there just playing.
Oh, they're from all over the
From
country.
everywhere.
Aren't they now
I
at
mean,
this
just
point?
from
Yeah.
everywhere.
Mhm.
And I coach USO soccer, and I pulled in, and there was no spots because everyone was playing pickleball. right? So, I mean, that's a good problem to have. That's a really good problem to have. So, kudos to the city, because I think it's why we moved here from Solon after being there 10 years, because of what the value price value associated to your home and taxes and what you get around you. But be able to have 9 different places to run, including the golf course, end-to-end trail path. You get up in the morning at 6, that means something. So all I have to say is I see happy faces, and that's a good thing.
Thank you, Carol. Fred?
Okay, so the fitness center, we're picking up. It's getting into that fall, winter time. The weather changed quickly, but we have basketball practices going on, TRBL, AAU. Swim team is practicing. High school is about to start for that. So we're very, very busy. We have some swim meets coming up. Actually, this Saturday, we have the Spooktacular for our age group athletes to swim for a meet at the fitness center. Then we have our high school practices coming up. We have both Twinsburg High School and Aurora High School utilize our facility to host their swim practice. Aurora is from 8 to 10 at night, so not the best timing for them, but that's what we're able to help them out with, so we're excited about that. We do have a swim clinic coming up also on November 6th and 7th through Fitter and Faster, so we have a national champion clinician coming in, and she will be working with Coach Curtis as well. He's our other clinician running that swim camp. So there is some spots available. Folks can go to fitterandfaster.com to sign up for the few that we have left there. Swim lessons are going great. Session 1 ends this week. Session 2 starts next week. We have a few spots available there as well. Pump Fake Basketball is one of our programs that we have. So we started looking at the fitness center and looking at our opportunities and noticing that we didn't have a lot of opportunities for youth to come in and use the facility. Either they were already on a pre-established team or they were coming in to work out, but we didn't necessarily have programs for them. So Pump Fake is one of our new programs that we have on Wednesday nights that they can come in and work on their basketball skills and drills. We just finished Hummingbird Soccer. So we had a youth soccer program for those from 3 to 5. So they came in and learned a version of soccer for a 3-year-old, but it was nice to be able to have that option for those young ones out there. We have Little Hoop Stars starting November 6th. So we have folks coming in for our youth basketball program. We've teamed up with Jumpstart Sports. They had so much interest that we have added another court and extended an hour. So we have a lot of kids signing up for that program, so we are excited about that. We also have a speed and agility training coming on the horizon. We're working with a coach on that, so that'll be coming out soon. We're very excited to bring that on. And then lastly, I just wanted to mention the Berg is back open. Right now we have limited hours, so we're Monday through Thursday, 9 to 1, and then Monday through Friday, 3 to 8. And we're really just trying to target when we have folks coming in the building. From 1 to 3, we're kind of slow, so we've shut it down for that. Friday morning, for some reason, people don't want to get up Friday morning as much as they want to the other morning, so we don't have it open in the morning, but we're excited to expand that. And when we have events, swim meets, other things like that, we'll have the Berg open as well. And hopefully as we pick up, those hours will pick up as well. And that's all I have, unless there's any specific questions.
Speed and agility is what age group?
That is 10 to 14. We're trying to get those kids before they're getting into high school that want to kind of work on that. We figured if you're in high school, you're already doing that training with either your high school team or personal trainers and coaches, but we wanted to hit that younger market.
And the coach is one of the high school track coaches.
Mm-hmm.
Great. My kids are doing it elsewhere, so that's why I'm asking.
There we go, winning. Bring them right to the Twinsburg Fitness Center. Just grab them, a quesadilla afterwards.
Right.
Just trying to help you out. No dinner, no worries.
Nothing helps fitness but a quesadilla.
You're up, Jen.
All right, well, the mayor did kind of go, no, he didn't. No. But he kind of gave you an insight into what we're doing in the Parks and Rec Department. Our focus and our goal over the next few months is going to become to focus as the department as a whole. Because right now it's very segmented. We have our senior center, we have our community center, the fitness center, and then our parks. And what we really want to do is bring it all together under one umbrella so that it is the Parks and Recreation Department. So we're really trying to focus on that. We're looking at some new ideas and some new goals to set going forward that'll encompass the entire department. We're really, like Brandon's touched on, we really want to focus on the youth group, because I think we kind of get into that teenage area and then we get into the adults working out, but we really forget about that target between 8 and 14. They kind of get lost in the shuffle. So we've done it with our fitness. We're also going to do our etiquette classes that are coming up in November, and the money game is coming up in November. They're really popular right now, so we're hoping to be able to go, further with those as well. Safety Town, like he touched on, we've been in contact with the Rotary. The Rotary is really interested in being a very important piece of this. And I think between them and Friends of the Twinsburg Parks, we're going to be able to tap into the community and use those resources as well, so that the community has some buy-in and some, ownership of Safety Town. It's not just a place that's just up there and everybody can use it. Because our Safety Town program really does not use it as often as you would think that they do during those sessions. So now we'll be able to have it for other community members to use. And things like the elevations, the landscaping, the buildings, those are all being readdressed because we will completely start from a blank slate up there. As far as our events, we've got the Fall Fest coming up on Saturday. We'd invite all of you guys to come out. If you want to come out and help, great. If you just want to come out and enjoy, perfect. It's from 1 to 4 up at Glen Chamberlain Park. The next one after that is our Turkey Trot. And then we have our Luminosity that's going to come out on December 4th. The theme for Luminosity is going to be Louie's back because he did take a year off. So we're going to do the floats. So we'd invite Friends of the Twinsburg Parks maybe to do a car again. We are going to do a Parks and Recreation float. Instead of just a float for Louie, we are going to do one that encompasses, again, the entire department so that we can showcase everything that we have. And then that's kind of all that we're working on right now. Any questions or thoughts?
Luminosity is
December 4th.
Is,
Yep.
and the trot's 5 miles.
Yes.
Always.
3.1
Hasn't always
weeks of
been.
Turkey.
Saying.
No?
Nope.
Well, as long as
And it's all hills.
been involved with it. Both ways, right?
Anybody have any questions for Jen?
Just a compliment, Jen. I think you do a very nice job. Thank you. Both of you guys do. I mean,
Thank you.
It's we appreciate the updates and the timely information that you give to us.
Old business. I think Deb covered some of the old business with Friends of the Park. Does anybody else have any old business they would like to discuss? No old business?
How are we doing on those city ordinance signs for people to put their dogs on leashes?
That's a good.
I can follow up with service on that because I did send them out, so I
Yeah.
will follow up with service on
Okay,
those.
that'd be great. Thanks.
What was the complaint again?
It was mine.
They don't. They're not there.
They're just not there.
There's just not.
So,
they're not-
so does anybody read signs? No. I get it, right? But it would be nice to have a sign so that when us little runners that are running by, early morning, when, folks are out there early, they do not put their dogs on leashes on the Hickory Trail. And when a German Shepherd comes running around the corner happy as can be, you don't know if it's a nice dog, and maybe it is or not, but it's just not safe. So, and folks need to respect and appreciate the fact that they're on a trail the same way that they do in the metro parks. They're always on leashes in metro parks, but they're not on the Hickory Trail, on the trail behind Dodge. It's got an official name, but I don't remember it, but they're just not. So I would love to see the signs posted so that you can at least have a kind conversation with that individual saying, your dog needs to be on a leash, please do so.
I'll follow up on that tomorrow.
Thanks. It's not a big deal. It's last
No,
on the
it is.
agenda. A couple years from now, we'll be fine.
Okay. New business? Anybody have any new business they'd like to discuss? Any ideas? Anything like that? Okay. Miscellaneous? I don't think we have any miscellaneous information. I'd like to make a motion to excuse Gary and Niall
I'll
today's
second.
meeting? Second by Debbie. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. I don't think we have a meeting scheduled
We
until
don't.
next year.
Right. Shannon will be sending those out in another month or so.
Okay. So the only thing I would say is before we adjourn is we missed the meeting from August.
Yes.
August. So I don't know what the city's view on it is, but if we wanted to get together to discuss.
I was planning to reach out via email and sending out some dates.
I know holidays are
Um,
coming up, and I know it's kind of tough, so I just wanted to. Why don't we just play it by ear through email?
Yeah,
See
if anybody
we can get
wants to
together.
add that other meeting, let me know and I'll see where we can fit it in.
And if nothing else, I mean, I don't know if we can just meet on the.
Yeah.
Not
Like
as a
Carol and I
commission,
found
just do it
time.
As part of the.
mhm.
All right. Motion to adjourn at 7:22 p.m.
I'll second.
Second by Deb. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned 7:22 p.m.